No woman is ever going to walk up to you and say, "I've made up my mind about you, so make your move before I change it." That's simply not how attraction gets communicated between people. But something else does happen, something that most men spend their entire lives completely missing. Women communicate desire through the body long before a single word is spoken. There exists an entire physical vocabulary, a nonverbal language that has been used for generations to deliver one clear, unmistakable message: I'm available to you, and I'm open to what could happen here. When a man fails to read these signals, she doesn't try again. She doesn't repeat herself. She quietly shifts her attention toward someone who was actually watching. Here's something that might genuinely sting. Research published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior found that women send out an average of 5 attraction signals before a man picks up on even one of them. 5 separate cues broadcast through her body before anything registers. So by the moment you're sitting there thinking she might be into you, she's already been sending those messages through her physical language for the past 20 minutes. And the most telling signals of all don't come from her eyes or her smile. They come from her hands. The reason is simple. Hands are the one part of the body that people forget to manage. You can arrange your face into a neutral expression. You can modulate your voice to fake enthusiasm, but your hands reveal what's actually happening underneath every single time. What follows are 8 hand gestures that signal when a woman has decided she's attracted to you. 8 physical cues that most men walk right past without a second glance. Fair warning, though, once this is in your awareness, it doesn't leave. You'll start noticing these signals in coffee shops, at work, on dates, in every social environment you enter. And the weight that comes with that knowledge is real, because the moment you can see it, you're responsible for responding to it. By the time you reach the final signal on this list, you'll understand exactly which gestures mean genuine interest, which ones mean she's ready for you to escalate, and which ones mean the window has already quietly closed behind you. That last signal is the most important one on the entire list. It's the difference between men who act on attraction and men who drive home replaying the evening, wondering what they missed. The first signal is the hair touch with a downward drift. This is one of the most common things a woman does when she's attracted to someone, and she does it almost entirely without knowing. Her hand lifts toward her hair, usually near the side of her face or tucked behind her ear, and then it moves slowly downward, trailing along her neck toward her collarbone. That trailing motion is what separates a simple hair adjustment from something far more deliberate. A woman fixing her hair touches it, corrects it, and moves on. A woman who's attracted to you slows that motion down. She lets her hand linger. She's drawing your attention subconsciously to her neck, which happens to be one of the most exposed and vulnerable parts of the human body. In psychology, the act of revealing the neck is a primal signal of trust. On a level below conscious thought, she's communicating that she feels safe in your presence and that she's open to wherever this interaction could lead. Dr. Monica Moore at Webster University spent more than 2,000 hours observing women in social settings and documented that the combination of the hair touch and neck exposure ranked among the top 3 most dependable indicators of female attraction. That is an extraordinary volume of real-world observation backing up a single pattern. So if she's sitting across from you and her hand keeps drifting up to her hair and gliding down toward her neck, that's not nervous fidgeting. That's an invitation. And if you keep talking about surface-level topics without acknowledging the shift in energy happening in front of you, she's going to assume you're not tuned in, and she'll begin emotionally withdrawing. The second signal is object displacement. This one is subtle enough that nearly every man misses it completely. When a woman begins slowly running her fingers along a nearby object, the stem of her wine glass, the rim of a coffee cup, the folded corner of a menu, the strap of her bag, she's engaged in what psychologists call tactile displacement. She wants to touch you. The social setting doesn't yet allow it. So the impulse transfers itself onto whatever object is closest to her hands. Think about what that actually means. Her body is so drawn to you that it has to make physical contact with something just to manage the tension building inside her. Research out of the University of Manchester found that tactile displacement behaviors increased by more than 60% when someone was in the company of a person they found attractive. 60%. Her fingers tracing slow, lazy patterns along the edge of her glass are not boredom. That's barely contained desire looking for a safe outlet, because she can't exactly reach across the table and run her fingers along your arm 15 minutes into knowing you. Well, technically she could, but that brings us directly to the next signal. The third signal is when she initiates physical contact with your arm. The moment a woman deliberately touches your arm during a conversation, she has crossed a significant threshold. Physical contact is the most intentional tool in a woman's communication arsenal because making it requires her to override her own personal space boundaries. Women do not casually touch people they feel nothing for. If her hand lands on your forearm while she's laughing at something you said, that is not accidental. If she taps your shoulder to punctuate a point she's making, that's not just expressive conversation. That's a test. She's checking your reaction. Do you lean into it? Do you pull away? Do you match the energy? How you respond in that moment tells her everything she needs to decide whether it's safe to keep escalating. A study from Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that light touch during conversation increased perceived attractiveness by nearly 40% in both directions. Meaning when she touches you, she's not only expressing that she finds you attractive, she's simultaneously making herself more attractive to you in that exact moment. Women understand this intuitively. That light contact on your arm is one of the most precise and effective moves in the entire nonverbal playbook. One touch means she's interested. 2 touches mean she's very interested. 3 touches without any reciprocation or escalation from you, and she'll start wondering whether you're even receiving what she's transmitting. The fourth signal is the open palm display, and this one flies so far under the radar that most people never register it at all. When a woman shows you her open palms during a conversation, whether she's gesturing while speaking, resting her hands on the table with palms facing upward, or handing you something with a deliberate palm-up presentation, she's communicating openness and trust at a subconscious level. Closed palms, clenched hands, arms tucked beneath the table or buried in pockets, all of these signal guarded energy, self-protection, emotional distance. Open palms turned toward you are the body's way of saying there's nothing hidden here. No walls, no armor, complete receptivity. Evolutionary psychologists trace this behavior back to early human interaction, where showing open hands indicated the absence of weapons and signaled peaceful, non-threatening intent. It is among the most deeply hardwired trust signals in our biology. So when she's sitting across from you gesturing openly with her palms facing your direction, she's not simply animated by nature. Her body is literally opening itself to you on an emotional and psychological level, and she's doing it almost entirely without realizing it. The fifth signal is the finger graze. This is where she's essentially spelling it out for you. When a woman creates a reason to make contact with your hand, whether she's playfully comparing hand sizes, jokingly reading your palm, or deliberately brushing her fingers against yours while passing you something, she has made her decision. Hand-to-hand contact is among the most intimate forms of touch that exists outside of overtly romantic physical contact. Hands carry one of the highest concentrations of nerve endings in the entire human body. When her fingers graze yours, both of your nervous systems register it. A small release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, moves through both of you simultaneously. She feels it, you feel it, and she knows you feel it. This is the exact moment where so many men completely lose the thread. She creates this electric point of connection, a small but charged bridge between her body and yours, and instead of staying in that moment, instead of letting his fingers rest against hers for even 2 or 3 extra seconds, the man retracts his hand as if he's been startled, and in that single reflexive movement, the spell breaks and the opportunity closes. When she makes contact with your hand, stay there. Don't flinch. Don't rush past it. Let the contact exist for a moment. If you can hold that stillness with genuine calm confidence, she'll recognize in you someone who isn't made uncomfortable by closeness, someone who isn't afraid of real connection. And that quality, that unshakable ease with intimacy, is often the precise thing that makes her think, yes, this one. The sixth signal is wrist exposure. The inner wrist is among the most physically vulnerable parts of the human body. The skin there is thin, the veins visible, and historically speaking, it has always been a point of profound physical vulnerability. When a woman exposes her inner wrist to you, resting her arm on the table with the inside facing upward, adjusting a bracelet and letting her wrist remain visible in your line of sight, or resting her chin in her hand with wrists turned in your direction, she's sending a deeply primal signal of trust and openness. This is rooted directly in evolutionary biology. The act of exposing a vulnerable part of the body to another person is an unconscious message that says, I trust you enough to show you the places in me that are undefended. Dr. David Givens, director of the Center for Nonverbal Studies, has written at length about how wrist exposure correlates with romantic interest, noting that it's one of the most difficult signals to consciously manufacture because it emerges from such a deep instinctual place. If you're on a date and you notice that her wrists are consistently turned toward you, open and unhidden, understand what she's actually offering you in that moment. She's communicating that she feels secure enough in your presence to let every guard come down. And if you receive that signal and do nothing with it, if you don't escalate, if you don't reach for her hand or deepen the physical connection in some way, you are effectively rejecting the trust she extended. A woman who feels her trust has been met with silence will not extend it to you a second time. The seventh signal is the mirrored touch response. This one reveals not just attraction, but readiness for escalation. When you make light, respectful physical contact with her, testing where things stand, and she mirrors that exact touch back to you shortly after, she isn't simply tolerating what you did. She's amplifying it. You touch her forearm while making a point, and moments later, she touches yours in the same way. You brush her shoulder as you're walking, and she leans gently into that contact rather than away from it. That mirroring is her body saying, yes, keep going, this is welcome. Mirroring is one of the most powerful indicators of mutual interest and deepening rapport in all of nonverbal communication research. When it occurs specifically through physical touch, it's confirmation that she is not passively enduring your presence. She is actively co-creating the connection with you. Most men never track whether their touch is being returned. They initiate and then simply hope. But when you train yourself to notice mirroring, the guesswork disappears. If she mirrors your touch, that's a green light. If she doesn't, that's information too. Either way, you're no longer operating on hope. You have clarity. The eighth and most powerful signal is sustained hand placement. This is the one that separates unmistakable interest from mere politeness, and it is the most significant signal on this entire list. When a woman places her hand somewhere on or near you and leaves it there, resting her hand on your knee during conversation, placing her palm on your chest while she's laughing, keeping her hand on your back as you walk together side by side, she has moved well beyond testing. She is making an announcement. Sustained contact requires deliberate, conscious choice. A brief touch can be written off as accidental or playful. Contact that lingers is a declaration. She is establishing ongoing physical connection, which communicates that she's comfortable occupying your space, that she trusts your closeness, and that she wants you to understand that the line between casual and intimate has already been crossed. This is the signal that means the moment is here, the window is open, and it's time to act. Here's the piece that ties everything together. These signals do not last indefinitely. A woman will test the waters with one signal, then another, maybe a third. But if she receives nothing back, no acknowledgement, no warmth, no reciprocation, no escalation, she will pull every single one of those signals back the way you reel in a fishing line, and once they're gone, they are gone. The dynamic shifts without any announcement. Her hands return to her lap. Her body orients slightly away. She checks her phone, and the man sitting across from her spends the next 10 minutes trying to figure out why something that felt so alive a few moments ago suddenly went completely cold. The energy changed because she handed him a map and he didn't follow it. The window is real. It begins the moment she sends her first signal. Meet her with warmth, with confidence, with reciprocated touch, and that window stays open. Hesitate too long and it closes. Not with a dramatic sound, not with any signal you can point to. Just a quiet, soft click. And that quiet click is the most costly sound in the world because you won't even know it happened until you're already on the other side of it. So now you have the complete picture. The hair touch that drifts down to the neck, the fingers moving against nearby objects, the deliberate arm contact, the open upturned palms, the finger graze, the exposed inner wrist, the mirrored touch, and the sustained hand placement. Every single one of these is a woman communicating without language. I've already made my choice. The only thing left is for you to make yours. And the way you do that isn't through words, it's through action. A touch returned, a moment held, a physical escalation that tells her you received every signal she sent and you're fully present with her right now. If this gave you something to think about, share it with someone who could use it. And if you've ever lived through the quiet click of a window closing before you understood what was happening, drop a comment and share your story. Understanding this changes things. Go apply it.